Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about Love is Blind, Season 9, Episode 1.
I'm just going to help y'all out, give y'all a little homekeeping. We are going to do Episode 1. We've seen all the other episodes, but keep the comments to Episode 1. I don't want to have to send you to the block. I'm from the block. You don't want to be on the block. Subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. I'm just going to warn y'all. I think every thumbnail of this series is going to be Edmond.
Oh, okay.
I try to...
I'm like, was he even in this episode?
Yeah, I believe so. Right? I think every episode is going to be a freeze frame of Edmond. You ready, Blair?
I'm ready.
Walk us through this episode, please.
All right. So we've got Casey, 32, hair and makeup artist. She was on and off dating her high school sweetheart for 10 years. In her 20s, dating was rocky.
Yeah.
She's never not been cheated on. Her ex was heavy into girls on social media, and it made her wonder why she didn't look like some of those girls. She's happy that during this process she can get to know someone with where her looks can be a bonus. So.
Do you think someone who's been cheated on in every relationship, do you think they share any blame in that?
No, not necessarily. Well, no, not necessarily.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because you can't control what another person does.
Okay.
I think that you might want to take into account who are the people that I'm looking for? Who am I choosing? Do they have similar qualities? But sometimes like people just cheat. So
yeah. I think when it comes to cheating, the cheater is always the one that gets the blame. Like at the end of the day, you could do things to pick better people or try to, but at the end of the day, it's on that person to be an honest person and a person of integrity to not cheat on you. But let's keep going.
We get to Casey and Patrick. She grew up Mormon. She wants to travel more. She is going to Columbia this year. He's a construction manager. He works remotely, and he has the flexibility to travel.
Okay.
So Patrick is 30. He grew up the only Asian guy in a predominantly white area in Colorado. He hasn't been able to date much because people haven't really been into interracial dating.
Really? Even like today? That's interesting.
Maybe where he's from in Colorado.
Maybe.
Like, is it a small town?
Maybe.
Or
We'll
who
see.
knows? So we get to Patrick and Anna. Anna says that she's mostly dated white guys. He's mostly dated white girls. Both of them are Asian.
Okay.
She says that her parents moved to New York from a different country. Then the whole family ended up moving to Colorado. And he can relate because his parents also moved from a different country.
Yeah.
They both speak more than one language. They're not really trying to get into finding out their exact ethnicity, but they're trying to learn how much in common they have when it comes to that. He made his father's last name his middle name. Prior to that, he didn't have a middle name, and she doesn't have a middle name either. So even though they're not telling each other their ethnicities, they are finding a lot of commonalities, which I feel like is kind of what you go for in Love is Blind when you're picking somebody. You know?
I don't know what it is, but I think it's a little bit of foul play in my opinion. I think there's a thin line between getting to know each other behind the pods, in the pods, and a thin line of playing charades. You get what I'm saying?
That's fair.
And that's the whole point, is that love is blind. So, like, you know how some people try to say or try to guess, like, basically tell me your name or tell me your last name, and my name could kind of tell you where I'm from, or kind of give you it could give you a visual of like the person that I am. And I don't know if I like that. I think we need to find a way to where we can still keep the process honest as possible without a game of charades. To me, I felt like there was a lot of charades going on, to where, you know, you have some people in past seasons trying to figure out like people's body shape and basically their race and where they're from. It just came off as trying to guess, besides trying to learn the person that you're talking to.
I guess the other side of that, to add to the conversation, is that a lot of times people's culture and ethnicity influences their identity. Like when we think of Patrick and talking about how he was the only one and it really impacted his dating, I mean, you know, that can bleed into how he handles romantic relationships and how he views himself when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I totally agree with you of like, you know, it'd be great to kind of have an understanding of somebody's history and background, but sometimes you can't really break the two. You know, like sometimes it really does influence who the person it turns out to be.
Yeah.
So we get to Anna, who's 27. She's a hairstylist. She is Chinese. Her family wanted her to bring a Chinese guy home, but she never did.
Wow.
So Anna and Blake talk. He is 32. They're both not religious. She confirms he is not homophobic or racist.
Okay, thank you, Blake.
And she likes his voice. Now, moving on to Blake independently, he is trying to prioritize relationships over career right now. He's 32 and an accountant, and that has been his focus this whole time.
Okay.
Now, we get to his conversation with Megan W., or Sparkle Meg, who is the business owner. Mm-hmm. Megan prioritized her career in her 20s. She sold her oil and gas company, which allowed her to have more freedom, and she is ready to find the right person.
Nice.
Now, Megan thinks that she's single because men are intimidated by her because of her lifestyle. What do you think of when you hear women say that?
No man, and I put emphasis on man because I'm not talking about immature, arrested development men and things like that. I'm talking about like a full-grown man is not afraid of no woman, right? If a woman is strong, he is not afraid of her strength. If a woman is independent, he is not intimidated by her independence and things like that. Men are, I don't know, when I hear that, to me it just reads as if she's big upping herself more than actually talking about the real scope of men. The men that you talk to were intimidated by you. And that makes me look at you, why are you dating guys that are intimidated by you besides dating men that you may be intimidated of because you may not have what they have, or you may not be on the level of smarts that they on and things like that. Like, I've never encountered anybody who I'm intimidated by of the opposite sex that I have interest in. So that's why I'm like, that is foreign to me. It sounds more like a it sounds more like a straw man to me. It sounds like it's not real. You get what I'm saying? It just sounds like basically I'm patting myself on the back.
Yeah, when I hear that, I kind of look at it with a 50-50 approach. I look at it as 50%. Yes, there are some guys who have some insecurities and probably, didn't treat you well, try to undercut you and all those different things, because those people exist.
Yeah.
But then the other 50% of me believes, could it be that you put yourself on a pedestal and people find that annoying?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, what's the angle really here, and how much have you experienced on each side?
We have to see.
What part is your personality, or what part is really your success?
Yeah.
So we get with Megan and Mike. Mike is 37. He's a real estate investor. She is working on getting her business up, and he used to work in finance, but it was soul sucking, so he pivoted to his current career. Now he has the flexibility to do what he wants, and he would also like to meet, and just put forth effort into someone in person.
Okay.
She is a type A personality. If he leaves dirty dishes out, it would be annoying, but she is more so into the traditional gender roles. I'm not exactly sure if he says it here. I might have skipped over writing it because there was so much talking going on in the first episode, and I was trying to take notes. But he talked about how he was part of this wealthy businessman's group, to where they like support each other or something. Okay. So when I heard that, I'm thinking to myself, well, people have different organizations and things that they're a part of, so they can be around like-minded people. So I didn't necessarily think too hard about it. Yeah. But it just kind of also feels like they both sound like they're smelling themselves a little bit. It's like they put their finances on the front street before they actually put themselves as a person on Front Street. Is how I was taking it.
Potentially.
So Mike talks about how he's always been into girls who are independent but not ready to settle down. Okay. Megan and Jordan talk. So she goes by, this is when she said she went by Sparkle Megan. Her car is blinged out, but she doesn't say what her car is. I really didn't get the whole point of putting forth that you go by Sparkle Meg because you're such a flashy, shiny person, but then you don't want to say exactly the flashy, shiny parts of your life. It was like a bait and switch, low-key.
I don't care.
So he works in transportation logistics. He's a single dad, 5-year-old son. He got a vasectomy, but it can be reversed. She used to date a lot older. She met a younger guy, but he wasn't ready for marriage or kids. He says that, it sounds like their aesthetics are opposite. She said she's sparkly. He's kind of like a decent traditional t-shirt type of guy, and she says it's just her car that's sparkly.
Yeah, don't be distracted by foolishness when it comes to if her car is sparkly, what is the sparkling thing, and blah blah blah. Let her have that conversation with herself. Yeah. The most interesting thing that came out of this conversation is that he has a child. He's not late in age at all, and he has a vasectomy.
Yeah.
Like that, and he's trying to play it off, which is true, but he's trying to play it off, but it could be reversed. Okay, cool. What made you get a vasectomy, though? Like, I need to dive more into that, because it's not like you have 4 kids. It's not like you have 6 kids. You have 1 child, and you made I'm not going to say a good or bad decision, but you made a decision in the moment that now you're trying to sell to me as, oh, but it could be reversed. Are you the type of person to just make like impulsive decisions, and now like you're just trying to solve it? It's like, oh yeah, but we can fix it. What if you make a decision that can't be fixed? It's something as child, like I would think that if some women on here wants to have kids, and then you over here talk about you have a vasectomy, I think that is a decision or like a conversation that need to be more flushed out than anything else that like they was talking about in this conversation.
Mm-hmm. So we get to Allie, 27. She's a nurse. Mm-hmm. She hasn't found someone to match her ambition and drive. She's always been the one to motivate her exes, and she wants someone to be able to do that for her.
Okay.
Now she talks to Anton. He was between going in as Tony, but he decided to come in as Anton because he would be meeting his future wife. Her real name is Alini, and as an adult, she goes by Allie because she got tired of correcting people of how to say her name.
That's fair.
He's Russian, and he learns her last name, and I couldn't tell or not if she's Russian too, but it sounded like they had some commonalities.
Okay.
So he talks about how he has some Ukrainian family. He's been through some tough stuff, but it builds character. He is a stronger man because of it, and he has built his businesses, got a house young, so he has done the thing.
Nice.
Allie wants her kids to see the love that she has in her marriage and be inspired by that because she didn't get to experience that growing up. Mm-hmm. He is only going to really share his feelings with someone if he's comfortable with them, but just as like a listening ear, not necessarily to come in to fix a situation.
Okay.
He starts calling her baby. She likes hearing that, and they really clicked and seemed like they liked each other.
We gonna get back to them when it comes to pet names, because I'm gonna talk about pet names, especially with this next couple right here. Y'all hold on, because we about to go on a ride. Go ahead, Blair.
So we get to Edmond and Calabria.
Yes.
27. She's a social worker, and automatically they feel a spark.
What?
They both want a non-traditional marriage. She is a 50-50 kind of woman. She's not a housewife. She got her degrees and she's going to put them to use. Mm-hmm. They are both active people. He used to be a cornerback. She used to play basketball. Mm-hmm. He's currently a realtor. She talks about how she wants to get into Section 8 housing, and he shares how he was in foster care growing up, and she runs a nonprofit group home.
Nice. They
talk about his upbringing, how he grew up in West Virginia and he was in and out of foster care. His parents would have him for a short time because they would do something wrong. Mm-hmm. And, he says his parents are better now than ever.
Okay.
He defeated the odds, got his master's degree, and he wants to be a substitute teacher later in life because his life was changed by a 5th grade teacher. Mm-hmm. He starts to get choked up. And she tells him, he's more of a man if he cries, and it's okay to let out his emotion. So his 5th grade teacher made him want to get into elementary education. Yeah. When he's with kids, all you have to do is have fun and be a kid. When stuff goes down, he can relate to them on another level. Okay. And he tells her it's only her, and she thanks him for being vulnerable.
What are your thoughts on Edmond and just this overall as they are on our Love is Blind screen right here?
Yeah, Edmond makes me nervous, y'all. Edmond makes me very nervous.
I'm scared. Nervous.
I'm very nervous about Edmond, primarily because when I saw this conversation, I said, I think he needs to be in therapy. I don't think he needs to be on Love is Blind.
Yeah.
And it's not just the fact that he broke down and cried. It was a conversation around wanting to be a substitute teacher because all you have to do around a kid is have fun and be a kid. Mm-hmm. You're the adult in this situation. We don't need to be healing our childhood through children, and we don't need to be healing our issues with love and acceptance through marriage. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking that Edmond is looking to fill some voids in his life with Calabria, and I'm hoping that she picks up on the fact that he just may not be stable at the moment to kind of go through this process and be and I'm not going to say he couldn't be a stand-up partner, but I think there's a lot that he has to work through individually before he can really show up as the partner that I'm thinking that she wants for herself. So
yeah, I will 100% say he's not stable in my opinion, because he cried like that. If you're willing to open up yourself to a stranger in that way, to where he's not tearing up, he was flat out almost squealing, crying and things like that. You're unstable. And I don't know if you have the emotional I don't know if you're stable enough emotionally to lead a household or to even partake in one. I knew that something was going to be crazy when I saw Naruto run down the hall and things of that nature. But let's go back to, how do you say her name?
Allie and Anton.
No, talk about Edmond and who?
Oh, Calabria.
And Calabria, right? Calabria, and if you remember her, we did a first impressions with the cast, and if you remember the description that Blair read, she says that basically, I'm gonna paraphrase, that she wants to get in a relationship to where it's different from past relationships because she's used to being in long-term relationships and staying in them despite seeing the red flags.
Yeah.
This is something that she said. So I think she is doing an overcorrection here, right? I think when she came in with the whole my love and things like that, I think the pet names is too early to be saying pet names, right? I think that was intentional. Also, with the whole going back to Anton and Allie with the whole like baby and things like that, too early for pet names. I think somebody can feel, what's the word? Things can get blurred. Things can get blurred very fast if we start with pet names more than actually digging down and digging into the history or the person, because my name is Edmond, not my love. Mm-hmm. My name is Allie or Anton, not baby. And you could get caught up in the whole process of like, you know what, this is my one. And that's what Edmond said. He said, it's only you. It's you and you and you and you. And she's over there basically saying that, you know what, it's okay to cry. Because you know what, I've been with guys that probably never cried, and it doesn't make you less of a man that you crying like that, even though we just met. I'm not saying he's less of a man, but that doesn't mean he's stable in his emotions to where he's willing to feel something that deep with a stranger and things like that. So I think Calabria is over here trying to correct her wrongs, but by trying to overcorrect her wrongs with Edmond, with the wrong guy, she gonna find out that, oh my goodness, I swung it too far the other way. And I think like both of them are not really seeing each other. I think Edmond is already gone, but like Calabria is so focused on trying not to see the red flags that like she's still missing the red flags.
Yeah, I feel like with Calabria, and I don't remember if I said this during our initial first impressions, I was like, I think that it's going to be hard for her to come into this process to switch up what she's been used to.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm, from what I'm seeing, I feel like she hasn't switched up doing what she used to. I feel like she is hearing things that are concerning. And I think that she is doing what she's always done and ignored them because I think she wants to get chosen. I think she wants to be on the show. I do think she wants love. But I think that she is actively closing her eyes to these red flags, or she hasn't seen these types of red flags before.
That's what I was going to say. This is a different type of red flag. This is not the same red flag she used to.
Maybe it's not the red flag of the guy who's going to disrespect and cheat on you, but it's the red flag of the guy who is going to be emotionally unstable.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's the lie. I think it's a different. She hasn't changed the ability to recognize red flags.
Yes.
She can't recognize red flags. This is a different red flag that she's not used to. That's why she's babying him and basically saying, my love, it's okay to cry, because you know what, the other red flags I seen is nothing like this. You are someone that I've never been with before, and that doesn't mean that's a good thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So we get to Joe, who's 27 and a recruiter.
Okay.
He was in a 5-year relationship and hasn't had a lot of dating experience. He's been engaged before, but it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And he is talking to Madison, 26. She is the one who has the eye condition that might lead to blindness.
Yeah.
And they talk about dream dates, karaoke, Flamin' Hot Cheetos. They're talking about, how would you finish the date? Tell me what you would do. And he struggled a bit in order to get out that he would want to go to a speakeasy and then go home at the end of the night. And this did concern me.
How?
And maybe I'm putting 20 on 10, but you should be able to take charge of a situation in a conversation and lead the direction. And I felt like Joe had no ability to lead. Okay. He was spinning in circles, and I don't know if he was nervous.
Probably.
But I thought it was a simple question of how would you finish the date? And he's like, I think Flamin' Hot Cheetos and karaoke sounds fine. Yeah. Like,
you're a weirdo.
I need you to kind of like take a little bit of, I'm not going to say control, but be a part of the conversation. Help direct us. What do you think? What is your opinion? And I'm just wondering, is that going to bleed into decision making and life circumstances? So that's why I said it could be 20 on 10, but I'm just like, it's literally a simple conversation. Why are we having a hard time?
I'm going to ask the tough question. because I'm not afraid to ask the tough questions. And by me asking the tough questions, I'm not pushing a narrative. I'm not creating a narrative. I'm just trying to create a conversation between me, my wife, and the community that we have. Is it fair for Madison to be part of this process knowing that she has potentially a permanent disability looming when it comes to losing her sight, right? I'm going to give my answer first, right? The only reason why I would say it's fair only for this reason. We have seen people say no at the altar and continue to date and potentially grow something after the fact. I don't think it's fair. Watch me talk out of both sides of my mouth. I don't think it's fair to expect someone to marry you this soon in the allotted time that Love is Blind gives you. But if you are willing to be a fiance and to say no at the altar with the ability to grow the relationship, I have no problem with that. But I do think it is something that is a heavy responsibility for someone that you never seen, that you never met. There's no equity in the relationship, to be part of this process, not for love, but for this process, to get married within less than 5 weeks, and for them to be like, oh yeah, potentially I may be blind in the future permanently. I think you need more equity in a relationship than the time that is allotted for Love is Blind.
I think it is fair in the sense that production chose her.
Yeah.
And didn't allow her, I guess, disability to be a hindrance on whether or not she could participate in the process.
Okay.
So I think it's fair in that regard. I think it's fair that she is disclosing this information to
100%.
the people that she's dating, so that way they can have the understanding of what she's dealing with and decide if they want to pour into her.
100%.
I think it is unfair to herself.
Oh.
I think it is a disservice to herself, because what I fear for her, and this could totally be worst case scenario, I fear that during this process there could be a level of rejection that she may not be able to come back from. And just basically in the sense of, she put her all into this stranger. She told them all about her condition, and she really felt like she had somebody who would be there for her and go through life with her. And the person switched up at the last moment. Yeah. And my thing is that a stranger should not have that level of control or ability to, or either impact on your life in that way. And I fear that this experience and that person could have that impact if they choose not to choose her, knowing all that she has bared her soul about, with all her fears and everything about the future and her condition. And I hope that she won't have that issue. I do think that if she had chosen not to go on the show and to meet somebody in real life and to actually develop a relationship, and for that person to, through time and experience, show and prove themselves to be somebody who is stable and secure and willing to really go through things with her, that I think that would be something that she could really kind of rest her head on, or be a rock to her. So I'm just concerned that she's doing herself a disservice by laying herself bare to a stranger who may end up hurting her in more ways than one. Of course. And like I said, this is not on Madison, because number one, she's not 100% sure that she will be blind. Right? Because it's a chance she will be. But at the same time, she's not hiding it from anybody. So it's not like there's any blame on her. But to your point, you may be doing yourself a disservice, because people have the right to say, no, I don't want to be part of that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we get back to Anton and Allie. Both of their first jobs were teenagers at McDonald's. They both learned English at 8, and it takes a lot for her to not put walls up. They both share I love yous. He proposes and she says yes. This felt so rushed to me, but I have to remember that maybe they had a lot of dates, maybe a lot of editing that wasn't shown. But this really, I was telling Blair while I was watching, I said, this felt like two people that wanted to be chosen for the show. So they just let's hurry up and just locked in on our connection, and let's hope we get chosen by because we're one of the first ones, or by editing. To us, it looked like they're one of the first ones. I just didn't feel like there was a lot of connection
in this first episode or with them two. But like I said, it could be editing.
Yeah, I'm not usually a fan of blaming stuff on editing, but I'll blame this on editing because I don't want to stay in the pods for more than a couple episodes.
Wow.
So I want to figure out who's with who and let's get the party started. Okay. So I was totally fine. Okay, Anton and Allie, they one of our couples.
Okay.
Jordan is missing his son.
Okay.
He ends up talking to Megan. He wrote her off at first, but she's been consuming his thoughts. He shares how he is missing his son and how his son has type 1 diabetes. Mm-hmm. We learned that her dad had type 1 diabetes and he passed away recently. Mm-hmm. They both start getting a bit emotional. They end up playing a word game, and Megan says falling in love should feel exciting, scary, and she is feeling those things. Mm-hmm. And he thinks falling in love should feel like this, which is what they're experiencing. And she thought that was cute. I thought it was cute too. So she always laughs with him. As much fun as they have, she still doesn't think that they're aligned when it comes to lifestyles.
Okay, that's fair.
And for me, I think that they're connecting on a deeper level as far as values, family, just the things that they find important and they love and care about. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good thing. And I think that Megan has to get over this lifestyle aspect and really dig a little bit deeper. Now, don't get me wrong. She don't need to be moving him and his son into her house and all this type of stuff without really knowing if he's there for her or if he's there for what she can provide for them. You know what I'm saying? But I do think that she could be getting in her own way if lifestyle is her main priority. Okay. So Mike and Megan. Mike seems like he has his stuff together the most, and she thinks that they're the most compatible in that regard. He reveals he is 37. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he didn't reveal that to her at first. I really don't know why. I don't know. She thinks that she could build an empire with him. He's this is where he talks about being part of this wealthy guy tribe, and health is one of the pillars, and he needs his wife to help do the grocery shopping because he doesn't know much about that. Okay. He says he has a hot tub and a sauna at his place.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's the same thing, just kind of pushing with what you have versus who you are. So we have Megan and Blake. Mm-hmm. She feels like she has something strong with Blake.
How?
His dad passed of liver failure, and he regrets not having a closer relationship with him. They bonded through sports, and that's how his dad expressed his love, but it wasn't much beyond that. When his father's health started to decline, he allowed his frustration for their lack of depth of relationship to get the best of him, and he never really tried to bring that to his dad's attention. He knows sometimes he doesn't get too trusting in relationships because he's afraid people could let him down. Megan shares that her parents were conflict avoidant and she doesn't want to repeat that. She has to forgive her dad for a lot too, even though he has passed. He developed early onset dementia, fell, hit his head, ended up having a heart attack, which she said was probably best case scenario because it would have been a lot for the family to deal with the dementia diagnosis and, you know, getting him in a facility. Yeah. Her dad always would tell her that he was going to die during her adolescence and early adulthood. So in some ways she was prepared, and she leans on spirituality to guide her through this current process. And she can see herself engaged to Blake.
Do you think people should, what's the word? Do you have a problem with trauma bonding?
There's like a real definition of trauma bonding, and then there's like the way that
I'm talking about the way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So in this type of thing, I don't mind because I think it's more of a relating to life experiences, you know, and I think that if you can learn how somebody got through a difficult time, it can kind of show you the really raw root of somebody's character because you're not going to be your best or your prettiest at your lowest. So
yeah, I think if you want to take a shortcut to somebody's heart, try to find some relatability to some type of trauma. And that can be a bad thing. Just because my daddy did and your daddy did doesn't necessarily mean that we are compatible, right? It also doesn't mean that we need to bond that our daddies did, right? I think it leads to great conversations, but I don't want people to use that just as a shortcut of, you know what, I can see myself with this person because, you know, we got the same family issues or like the same dynamic. I really want to see people actually connect on the present and like connect on what's going on now. You get what I'm saying? Somebody may feel like they can connect with me because I don't have neither of my parents alive right now, but I don't feel without.
Mm-hmm.
So I may not feel the same weight of the loss of parents as someone who may have the loss of parents and they feel without. So we are not relatable in that way. We only relatable in the sense of that we don't have our parents, but we're not going through the same emotional,
turmoil
of it. So that's why I'm like with them, I don't want them to connect so much on what happened to them. I want them to connect more on what the present and potentially the future. Fair. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then Anton and Allie are getting ready to meet, and that is where we leave episode 1.
Listen here, I need you to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. We are going to do episode 2 and 3 together because they were kind of like a cliffhanger, so we got to combine them together. Make sure y'all put in the comments what y'all thought about this episode. Keep it to episode 1, and we see y'all in episode 2 and 3.
Bye.